Oh, it was good, y'all. Tap in. We got a video today on steroids. People that like to get juiced up for the love of the game. You know what I'm saying?
About a compound so powerful, so anabolic, and so utterly transformative that bodybuilders talk about it like it's some kind of dark magic. Or at least they used to, and now it's just a meme. This is a substance that can turn you into a mass monster while simultaneously shredding you down to single digit body fat. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it is too good to be true, but also it's kind of not. And that's exactly the problem. What's up, guys? Dr. Alex here, and I'm a board-certified urologist, fellowship-trained in men's health, and today we're diving deep into trenbolone, arguably the most powerful anabolic steroid ever created, and also arguably the most dangerous one you can put in your body. Although really, if we're talking most toxic, I'd probably have to go to check drops, but I doubt any of you have even heard of those. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I got a question for you guys. Have you ever been tempted to taste the forbidden nectar? Or if you've used it, what was your experience? I read every single comment, and I generally want to know what brought you to this.
Bro, being tempted to take steroids is kind of crazy because you could just work out. I kind of get it. I ain't gonna lie, especially if you like in sports and shit. If you really wanted to push your body to the peak level, I mean, they should have a steroid Olympics for real. Just see how people compare the steroid Olympics versus the non-steroid Olympics. See how that shit go. Or steroid fight ring and shit. Oh shit. Uh,
Today. All right, so here's something that might blow your mind. Trenbolone was never, and I mean never, designed for human use. This compound was synthesized in 1963 by a French pharma company called Roussel UCLAF, and it was first published in the scientific literature back in '67. But here's the kicker. It was always developed just to make cows bigger. That's right, the steroid that gym bros worship as the holy grail of gains, and the thing
that's wild. It's wild how many things that people take for sports and like athletic performance that were like made for like animals. Like there's rumors of sports players taking like horse tranquilizer or some just crazy stuff, man. And deer antler serums and stuff, like just weird. I don't even know how you find out what that could do to your body. It's crazy out here. They playing on perks too.
and the SARM goblins talk about on TikTok was literally designed to fatten up cattle before slaughter. Those little pellets called Phenoplex, those get implanted under the skin of cows' ears to increase their muscle mass and feed efficiency before they become your ribeye steak. So when someone asks me, Doc, is there a trend?
That's why y'all need to eat that grass-fed steak, grass-fed and finished. Stop eating. Say nah, I be eating USD's choice, USDA's choice sometimes myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do that sometimes, but preferably, most of the time when I spend my money on red meat, I'm getting Australian lamb or grass-fed and finished steaks. They got them at Sam's Club for like 14 for two steaks, bro. There's no excuse, and you get $10 a pack of grass-fed and finished lamb chops. So
That's actually safe to use? My response is, unless you're a cow that's headed to the slaughterhouse in the next 2 to 3 weeks, chances are probably not. Now, I do need to set the record straight on something. There actually was one form of trenbolone that was briefly approved for human use. Parabolin, also known as trenbolone hexahydrobenzyl carbonate for you chemistry nerds, was marketed in France starting in 1980. It was prescribed for conditions like muscle wasting, severe malnutrition, and osteoporosis. But notice I said was. Parabolin was voluntarily discontinued in 1997. The pharmaceutical company just stopped making it. And while some sources claim trenbolone was used for breast cancer treatment, I can't actually find any solid evidence to confirm that.
sadly, I bet he gonna say people still using it. It's been discontinued. Somehow they've manufactured, made a replica, or progressed it in some form or the fashion. I don't know. I might be totally wrong. We gonna see though.
Indication. Now, what you can find is that all the other anabolic steroids we're familiar with, like nandrolone, were used for that purpose, so it's probably that wires got crossed in internet bodybuilding lore. The point is this, trenbolone's brief stint as a human medication only lasted about 17 years in one country. Meanwhile, it's been fattening up cattle for over 60 years and counting. Draw your conclusions. All right, let's get sciencey. To understand why trenbolone is so insanely powerful, you have to understand its biochemistry, and this is actually pretty fascinating stuff. Trim belongs to a class of steroids called 19-nor compounds. The 19 refers to the 19th carbon molecule on the steroid molecule, and nor means it's not there. It's been removed. So trenbolone is missing a carbon atom that testosterone has. This might sound like a minor tweak, but in biochemistry, small changes can have massive effects. The parent compound of trenbolone is nandrolone. You might know it as decadurabolin. Nandrolone is also a
I
19...
ain't gonna lie, he talk about a whole bunch of stuff I do not know about. Like, I'm trying to keep up though.
steroid, and it's been used medically for decades. But trenbolone takes things several steps further. What makes trenbolone unique is that it has additional
I don't even know where people get steroids from, bro. I've never in my life seen someone take steroids before. Everybody I know just they was there like it's like the niggas was born swole. Some people was just born swole. I swear. I don't know. I never seen nothing like this before.
bonds at the C9 and C11 positions, and these extra double bonds do two critical things. First, they prevent the 5-alpha reductase enzyme from converting trenbolone into a more potent androgen in certain tissues, which is the opposite of what happens with testosterone. When you take testosterone, your body converts some of it into DHT, which is much more potent in tissues like your prostate and hair follicles. This happens with naturally secreted testosterone as well. Trenbolone doesn't do this. So paradoxically, even though it's more anabolic, it might cause less prostate growth than testosterone, at least in theory. Second, and this is a big one, these double bonds prevent aromatization. That means trenbolone cannot be converted into estrogen. Zero, none, zilch. And this is why tren users don't get the bloating and water retention that comes from other steroids, including nandrolone. It's also why they get that dry, hard, grainy look that bodybuilders chase.
So what's the drawback? There's gotta be the law of equivalent exchange. You gotta pay. What they paying? Is it age? Is it life? Is it life force?
This is compared to other 19-nor compounds. Let's talk about mint, also known as trestolone, for a second. Mint is another 19-nor derivative that's been getting a lot of attention lately. But unlike trenbolone, mint does aromatize a lot. It converts into estrogen derivatives, so you get a much wetter, fuller look, and you need to manage those estrogen levels. As for the different forms of trenbolone you might encounter, there are basically three main esters. Trenbolone acetate is by far the most common. Also known as trenaase, it has a half-life of about 3 days, which means it clears your system relatively quickly. And this is actually good if you experience side effects. You can stop taking it and it'll get out of your system faster. But it also means more frequent injections. Trenbolone enanthate has a longer half-life of about 7 to 10 days. Now, this could mean fewer injections if you want to take that approach, but if you get side effects, you're along for the ride. And then
I can't do needles. That's why that stuff never crossed my mind. I can't do needles. Ever since I was a child, I never really liked needles. Something about it's just feel invasive, you know.
lastly, there's trenbolone hexahydrobenzyl carbonate, the original parabolin. This has a half-life of about 14 days. But here's the thing, legitimate pharmaceutical parabolin doesn't exist anymore. So if someone's selling you parabolin, it's almost certainly made in an underground lab. I haven't seen it.
I knew it. They were just continuing the shit. I ain't no scientist. I can tell you that much. These people have no shame.
Real pharma parabolin? Well, ever, actually. Not saying I've looked for it or anything. Now we need to talk about the two other receptor interactions that make trenbolone so unique and so problematic. First, trenbolone has significant affinity for the progesterone receptor. And this is where things get interesting, and by interesting I mean potentially terrible for your sex life and the rest of your life. Although progesterone...
So it's life force. That's what they're giving out. The law of equivalent exchange, man. They giving up something. How I do that? That's crazy, isn't it?
thought of as a female hormone, the truth is guys have progesterone receptors as well, and they really matter. So when trenbolone activates these receptors, you can get a lot of side effects that can look like somebody got smacked with a high dose of estrogen, including gynecomastia, strange changes in libido, and really some issues neuropsychiatrically speaking, even though estrogen levels are totally normal. So if you don't know anything about the biochemistry, you might think you have an estrogen problem, when in reality, the problem is activation of the progesterone receptor. And this is where a compound like cabergoline, which is actually designed to help with prolactin levels, might be helpful, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Bro, just eat steak, get some nice, clean protein, if you really want to push it to the max, but I swear you could just get swole off eating steak, bro. I swear you could just get swole off eating steak, bro. I mean, I ain't the biggest, but bro, like I ain't big at all. But bro, I know if I really wanted to, I could bulk up without all of this stuff. I'm not gonna look like fucking Broly, but hey, oh well.
Spend an hour discussing. Let's talk about the other receptor that makes trenbolone super interesting. Trenbolone is actually a glucocorticoid receptor antagonist. What does that mean in plain English? It straight up blocks the effects of cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone, and one of its main effects is to break down muscle tissue. It's catabolic, and this is often in response to stress. It wants to raise your blood glucose, but when you're in a caloric deficit, your cortisol levels go through the roof, and your body wants to burn muscle for fuel. And that's why it's hard to diet down while maintaining your muscle mass naturally. Trenbolone.
The sad part is most of the people that do this stuff, bro, they're not even doing it for like competition or to be like the bodybuilder world champion or Guinness World Record or anything like that. No, sadly, they're doing it for like glorification or Instagram posts. Like, and it's off-putting to the girls. So I don't know. It's actually kind of crazy.
Whole system into a headlock by
Well, some girls like that stuff. I ain't gonna hold you, but some of them you is gonna look kind of like scary.
cortisol's action. It essentially tells your body, nope, we're not breaking down any muscle. Find your fuel somewhere else. So where else does your body turn? To fat stores. And this is why tren is considered to be the ultimate recomp anabolic. You could be in a caloric deficit, losing fat, and actually gaining muscle at the same time. For natural athletes, this is something that is totally out of the question, unless you're a newbie lifter. But tren users report achieving this consistently. The only other common compound with any meaningful anti-glucocorticoid activity is Anavar, also known as oxandrolone. But Anavar is much milder in every way. It's like comparing a sports car to a rocket ship. Both are fast, but one might literally kill you. Actually both, but one will do it faster. If you want to learn more about Anavar, check out our video up here somewhere. So when you hear people say tren is the only thing that works in a deficit, that's why. The science actually backs it up. The problem is everything else about tren. Here's where I have to be honest with you guys, and this might surprise some of you, but there is actually no quality human data on trenbolone. Think about that for a second. This is one of the most widely known performance-enhancing drugs in the world. It's a meme at this.
So people just taking drugs out the back door to literally enhance your body, to enhance your muscles, to damn nearly make you infertile. And you don't know what it do. You don't know what the after effects will be. Oh, that's crazy. But we making homunculi in real time. We just don't know yet.
Point. People are injecting this stuff into their bodies every single day, but the scientific rigor that's gone into its research could fit on a napkin. Now, there is some data. In 2010, Yarrow and colleagues published a paper in the journal Steroids reviewing trenbolone's tissue selectivity and potential clinical applications. It's a solid paper, and it's cited constantly. But here's the thing. Most of that research was done in animals. Rats, castrated mice, cattle. The human data is extrapolated, not directly observed. Shout out if you identify as a castrated mouse. A structured review from 2025 searched through the entire medical literature and only found 23 human case reports.
Why you gotta castrate a mouse? That's kind of crazy. Like, it's a mouse. Hey, whatever.
Involving tren. 23 case reports. That's it. And many of those had limited toxicological confirmation, meaning we're often relying on patient self-reports about what they took, which is notoriously unreliable in a world of underground labs and multi-compound cycles. So where does our knowledge on tren actually come from? Well, there's three main sources. The first is animal studies, and these are actually pretty robust because tren has been used in livestock for decades. But you, my friend, are not a cow. And unfortunately, bovine metabolism, dosing, and physiologic responses don't translate perfectly. That's why we tend to use primates and mice for studying new compounds, not cows. The second source is case reports, and these are basically, this guy showed up to the murder.
Yeah, that does make more sense. I don't even think the cow's brain is similar to the human brain, to be totally honest with you. And once you factor in stuff like that, you're really getting into real muddy waters for real. Because all that stuff goes in and affects the brain too.
room and this is what happened. It might be useful for identifying potential harms, but it doesn't tell us anything about the time relationship to when the patient started taking the medication and what they experienced, and it doesn't give us any dose-response relationship. And the third is, well, anecdotal. Anecdotal evidence from the online bodybuilding community is what most of our understanding of trend has come from. And look, I don't want to dismiss this. When thousands of people report similar experiences, there's probably something to it. But anecdotal evidence is also subject to massive biases: survivorship bias, selection bias, confirmation bias. If there's a bias, it exists. And it often lacks what we want to see, which is medical data that shows us what side effect happens at what dose and at what point. So the point I'm making is this: anyone who tells you they know exactly what trend does to humans with complete confidence is either lying or misinformed. We're all working with incomplete.
And humans are fickle beings on this planet Earth, bruh. Like, there's animals can eat like a lot of things that are not valuable for human consumption, for years, mind you, and they'll be good. They won't be the healthiest cow or pig or chicken or dog or cat, but they'll be good. They'll find a way. But humans, you took one bite of some shit like that, you down for the count, bruh. Like, of just certain stuff animals could consume. If you just did that, you down. You done for. Like, what? The acid on some of these animals' tummies.
Data here. I'll tell you what the evidence suggests and what the community reports, but I want you to understand the limitations of our knowledge. Okay, after everything I've said, you might be wondering, why does anyone take this stuff? Do we all just need to call our dads and ask him to finally tell us he loves us? Of course not, because we hide our feelings in our muscles. But listen, if we're going to be serious for a moment,
Yeah, imagine blaming taking steroids on daddy issues. And then, bruh, at that point, you gotta seek help. I don't know where you gonna go. I'd say, man, I don't even know. Go to the shroom mountain. I don't know.
to have an honest conversation about trenbolone and acknowledge why it's so seductive. Dismissing everyone who wants to use it as stupid doesn't help. The reality is that tren is probably the single most effective muscle building compound ever developed. Nothing else comes close, and if bodybuilding were purely about moving the needle on hypertrophy and body composition, trenbolone would be the undisputed champion.
They need to start shaming these people. Bring back shame. That make things way easier. Some people don't care about shame, so that's why they made the word shameless.
It's are genuinely impressive. First, the anabolic potential is off the charts. Trenbolone binds to the androgen receptor with an incredible amount of affinity. You'll see claims of 5 times, etc., but listen, those studies don't hold up with any degree of scrutiny. But we know that it binds to the androgen receptor like a stage 5 clinger, and that results in profound muscle building stimulus. The second is that tren's nutrient partitioning effects are unlike anything else. Remember, this compound was designed to make cows convert feed into muscle more efficiently, and that same mechanism seems to carry over extremely well into humans. Your body becomes remarkably efficient at shuttling nutrients toward muscle tissue and away from fat storage. Third, and I mentioned this earlier, the anti-glucocorticoid activity enables true body recomposition. Studies have shown that users can gain muscle while in a major caloric deficit, something that's essentially impossible for natural athletes and still really difficult for other enhanced athletes that aren't using tren. A 2023 paper noted that trenbolone users reported significant gains despite flaws in training and diet. This compound is so powerful it can compensate for...
So you can gain weight without having, so you could burn more calories than you're consuming and still gain weight by taking this stuff. Yeah, these people going, I don't know, they might pop one day. Like, what? That's crazy. Like, this is actually insane. Fuck CTE. This is about to be some new brain, some new brain damage, bro. But who knows, bro? It might just be some superhumans being created too.
Optimal adherence. That is wild. As miraculous as GLP-1 drugs like semaglutide, tirzepatide, and retatrutide are, I still know patients that can eat through it and continue to gain weight. And the fact that that doesn't hold true with tren is incredible. The fourth benefit is that because it doesn't aromatize, you get zero water retention with tren. None. The muscle you build looks hard, dry, striated, and mature. This gives you that tren look that bodybuilders obsess over. There's no bloating, no moon face, just that dense vascular appearance that photographs exceptionally well on stage. Tren wins medals, and that's been proven. And fifth and final,
Bruh, they need to cut that stuff. Like, start making it like an actual fitness challenge. Like, lift the heaviest weight or something. I don't know. Like, how do they win this? How do they win those challenges, bro? The fuck? Cause I'm confused. How do bodybuilders win? Is it the heaviest lifter? How do bodybuilders win championships? Bodybuilders win championships by presenting the best total package to judges, balancing maximum muscle mass with extreme definition, symmetry, and man, bro, killing yourself for that is something else I didn't know. I didn't know.
the strength gains are unreal. Strength athletes have reported increasing PRs by 10 to 15% just within a few weeks. So yeah, if you're wondering why people would inject literal cattle hormones into their bodies, this is why. The results are undeniable, but the problem is the price you pay for those results. All right, buckle up. This is a section that's going to be long and uncomfortable because the side effect profile of tren reads like an actual horror story. Let's start with the cardiovascular system because this is where trenbolone might literally kill you.
Oh, heart attack.
Trenbolone destroys your lipid profile. We're talking massive drops in HDL, the good kind of cholesterol that's supposed to protect your arteries, combined with a significant spike in LDL, the bad kind that forms plaques. A 2025 review identified cardiovascular complications as the most frequent adverse effect reported in human case studies with trenbolone. And we're not talking about minor temporary changes in a lab value. There's a case report of a 23-year-old, 23, who suffered a myocardial infarction by using trenbolone. That's a heart attack in a young, otherwise healthy guy. There are reports of heart failure, strokes, left ventricular hypertrophy.
They try and pack themselves out the semi off the E. Try to take these drugs. What? You trying to leave early? Just because you want to look like Broly. For no reason. What's the point of looking like Broly if you can't even knock a girl up? You can't even get them pregnant after a point. I'm confused.
Which means that your heart muscle thickens abnormally, all linked to tren usage. The cardiovascular damage from tren may also accelerate the hardening and narrowing of your arteries. Also known as atherosclerosis, this is what leads to heart attacks and, well, erectile dysfunction. You might look incredible at 30 and then be dead at 45. Next up is the liver. Now, although tren is not a 17-alpha alkylated steroid, which is typically the modification that makes oral steroids so hard on the liver, and so in theory, you would think that injectable trenbolone should be relatively liver-friendly, but in practice, that's not the case. There have been multiple case reports documenting cholestatic liver injury, drug-induced hepatitis, and significantly elevated liver enzymes in tren users. And there's just something about tren structure that makes it...
That's why these people be Asian so much. They be dying from the inside out. They literally dying from the inside out. That's why their head be looking like they 50 years old. Their body look like they 30. It's crazy.
Resistant to normal hepatic metabolism, which may explain why it still hammers the liver despite not having that 17-alpha alkylation. The kidneys can take a hit too. Trenbolone has been associated with nephropathy, also known as kidney damage, and acute kidney injury. One characteristic sign that many tren users have reported is a dark rust-colored urine. Now, this is most likely trenbolone metabolites being excreted, which shouldn't be harmful in of itself, but it's a
Hey, bruh, you peeing out rust. Once you start peeing out rust, man, that's crazy. I've never seen no shit like that in my life. That shit look like root beer. Wow.
Reminder that you're putting your kidneys under significant stress. And that elevated stress over time, also caused by the elevated blood pressure that comes along with tren, further strains the kidneys. Now, something else worth talking about, although it doesn't compare to what happens to the heart, liver, or kidneys, is what happens to your natural testosterone production when you're taking tren. Tren causes a complete shutdown of your hypothalamic pituitary testicular axis. Complete. So your natural testosterone production doesn't just decrease, it totally turns off. Your LH goes to zero, your FSH goes to zero.
So you get this big and then you flatline on testosterone? Bro, this seems like the most counterintuitive thing to ever do as yourself. It's like spending your life to find the golden shotgun that was owned by Blackbeard the pirate, right? Just to blow your brains out with it. I'm uh I should be able to say that on YouTube. I hope so.
Your testicles may start shrinking away pretty fast. And the recovery from tren is notoriously difficult and prolonged. Because of its unique pharmacology, many users report that their natural hormone production just takes a lot longer to bounce back compared to other steroids, and some men may never fully recover. Now, I've still seen worse outcomes with compounds like SARMs, but I have many men in my clinic who used tren years ago and are now on TRT for life because their bodies just simply can't produce enough testosterone anymore. Is that from the tren or is it just from something else? It's difficult to say. And the fertility risk is a total dice roll. The combination of a complete testicular shutdown plus progestogenic activity means tren is basically birth control for men. Now, guys might bounce back, but they might not. And so if you're someone that's planning on having kids someday, using tren might be like playing Russian roulette with your future. And then there are the classic tren
They
sides.
don't plan on having kids. They want to look cool. They want to be glorified. They want to look like a Greek god with no nuts. Yeah, we gonna leave it on that note. These side effects are crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Shit. Is there anything else here? Anything else? Anything else? Spritz stew, spritz stew. Spritz stew, spritz stew. Nah. Yeah, it's GG's.
That anyone who spent time in
I'm trying to pull up the little joint. I gotta figure out how to use these computers, man. You see, I grew up on the Windows, y'all. Chill on me.